All right, so you're getting ready for a CNC machine operator interview. Congrats. That's awesome. We've got a stack of resources here from RoleCatcher all about this career path, and we're going to extract the most valuable nuggets to help you nail that interview.
Definitely.
Think of it kind of like having a cheat sheet for the whole process, from understanding what the job really is to, how to answer those tough interview questions.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be looking at the career guide, interview guide, even a peek into RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Okay, cool. So first things first, what exactly is a CNC machine operator? I mean, we hear the term, but like, what are we really talking about here in the manufacturing world?
Well, you're essentially the conductor of these really sophisticated machines. So you're taking raw materials, often metal, and you're using computer-programmed instructions to shape those materials into precise finished products.
Okay, so I'm picturing like a high-tech orchestra, but instead of instruments, you've got, metal being shaped with incredible precision.
Exactly. And just like a conductor needs to understand music theory, you need to understand engineering drawings and programming languages.
That's a really cool way to put it. So the career guide mentions this field has a projected growth rate of 5%, which is great news for job security. But what about the day-to-day? What's it really like working in that machining facility?
Yeah, it can definitely be a dynamic environment. It can be noisy, there can be dust, potentially some heavy lifting.
Right. Not exactly a cushy office job.
No, but it's also engaging. It's hands-on. You're constantly problem solving. You're making adjustments. You're working with a team to bring those designs to life.
I bet there's a certain satisfaction, too, in seeing raw materials transform into these finished products right before your eyes.
Yeah.
It's got to be like magic, but with metal.
Absolutely. Now let's jump into those interview questions.
All right.
The RoleCatcher Interview Guide has got some great insights, and we're going to break down some of the most common ones you might face.
Perfect. So let's start with this one. What inspired you to pursue a career as a CNC machine operator? Now, this might seem like a pretty simple question, but what are they really trying to get at here?
They're looking for genuine passion and interest in the field. It's your chance to tell your story and connect with the interviewer and let them know what sparked your fascination with CNC machining.
Okay, so it's more than just reciting your resume.
Right. Did you always love tinkering with things? Was there a specific class or mentor that ignited your passion?
So you're showcasing that you're genuinely interested and not just, in it for a paycheck.
Exactly. Now, to go a bit deeper, they might follow up with something like, what specific aspects of CNC machining excite you the most? Or even, how do your skills and interests align with our company's values and products?
That's a great point. So it's not just about your story, but also about how your story fits with their company.
Right. So make sure you research the company beforehand and think about how your passions connect with what they do.
Okay, so what's a good example of how someone could answer that initial question about what inspired them?
Well, you could say something like, I've always been fascinated by the idea of transforming raw materials into, precise functional objects. And a metal shop class in high school really sparked my interest in CNC machining. I love seeing the designs come to life. And that made me realize this is what I wanted to do.
That's a great starting point.
Yeah.
Remember to personalize it with your own experiences and what genuinely drew you to the field.
Right. Now, the next question might focus on your technical skills.
Okay, bring it on. What kind of technical questions should someone be ready for?
Well, a very common one is describe your experience with programming and using CNC machines. And here, they want to know your proficiency with different machines and programming languages.
So don't be afraid to get specific.
Yeah, absolutely. Mention those machines, the software programs, you're comfortable with the complexity of the projects you've handled.
Right. Name those machines, those programs.
And don't just say you're proficient, give concrete examples.
What about those who are newer to the field? How should they approach this question?
Honesty is key. Focus on your eagerness to learn and the foundation you've built. So you might say, while I'm still gaining experience with specific machine or software, I have a strong grasp of mention-relevant skills, and I'm a fast learner.
So it's about showing them you're committed to growth, even if you're not a seasoned pro just yet.
Exactly.
What's another question they might throw your way?
They might ask, how do you ensure quality control in your work? CNC machining is all about precision, so they want to know you're meticulous and that you take pride in producing top-notch work.
So it's not just about getting the job done, it's about getting it done right.
Precisely. And this is where you can really showcase your process. Talk about the tools you use, the inspection procedures you follow, and how you catch and correct errors.
So give them a clear picture of what that looks like in action.
Yeah, you could say something like, I always double-check my program inputs, use precision measuring tools, and carefully inspect the final product to ensure it meets all specifications.
Okay, so you've got a system in place. You're not just going through the motions.
Right. And be prepared for those follow-up questions, like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a quality control issue. How did you handle it? They want to see your problem-solving skills in action.
Got it. So have a specific example ready to illustrate your process.
Okay, another common question is, how do you troubleshoot issues with a CNC machine? Because let's face it, things don't always go smoothly.
Right.
So they want to see that you can think on your feet and that you can solve problems.
So you're not just a button pusher. You understand the machine and can diagnose issues.
Exactly. Walk them through your troubleshooting process, step by step. What's your first instinct when a machine acts up? Do you check the manual check error codes, or do you seek guidance from more experienced colleagues?
Show them you've got a logical approach.
Right. And they might ask for a specific example, like, tell me about a time you successfully diagnosed and fixed a complex machine problem. So be ready to share a story.
So you can not only identify the problem, but you can come up with a solution.
Now, another question to be ready for is, how do you prioritize tasks and manage your workload as a CNC machine operator? This is about your organizational skills and your ability to juggle multiple priorities.
Time management's crucial in any job, right? Especially in a fast-paced environment like manufacturing.
Exactly. So explain your system for prioritizing tasks, whether it's a to-do list, scheduling software, whatever works for you.
Okay, so have a system in place.
Yeah, and highlight your communication skills. How do you stay in sync with your team and your supervisors? Do you proactively seek clarification if those deadlines or priorities change?
So it's not just about managing your own time. It's about communicating within a team.
Right. And a follow-up question might be, tell me about a time you had to juggle multiple deadlines. How did you manage your time effectively? Have a real-life example.
Okay, those stories are so important. They really paint a picture.
Now, safety is a big deal in CNC machining, so they'll likely ask something like, how do you maintain a safe working environment in a CNC machining facility?
Makes sense.
This has two parts. They want to see that you understand safety protocols, but also that you're personally committed to following them.
So it's one thing to know the rules. It's another to actually live by them.
Exactly. Talk about how you identify potential hazards, how you mitigate risks, and how you maintain a safe workspace for yourself and your team. Mention any specific safety training you've had.
So show them you take safety seriously.
And they might ask, describe a time you noticed a safety hazard and what steps you took to address it. So a real-life example can showcase your proactive approach to safety. Now, shifting gears a little bit. They might ask you something like, how do you stay up to date with the latest advancements in CNC machining technology?
Right, because this field's constantly evolving.
It is. You've got new software, new techniques, new materials. It's really key to show them that you're committed to continuous learning.
So they're not just looking for someone who can, run the machines today, but someone who's really eager to learn and adapt as technology changes.
Exactly. And you can share how you stay informed. Do you subscribe to industry magazines, attend conferences or workshops, or maybe participate in some online forums?
Right. Are you taking courses? Are you pursuing certifications?
Let them know that you're invested in staying ahead of the curve.
So you're not just keeping up, you're really thinking about where the field is going.
Right. And a good follow-up question they might have for you is, what emerging trends in CNC machining are you most excited about and why?
Okay.
So be ready to talk about something specific, like maybe 3D printing or AI integration or advanced automation.
Yeah, be able to articulate how you see that shaping the future of the industry.
Okay, let's move on to another really important aspect of this role, which is teamwork. The guide mentions a question like, how do you collaborate with other team members in a CNC machining facility?
Right, because it's rarely a solo endeavor.
It's not. You often have a whole team working together to produce those high-quality products.
So how do you communicate effectively, share information, contribute to that positive team dynamic?
Exactly. So tell them about your approach to communication. Do you prefer face-to-face conversations, email updates, project management software? What works for you?
And don't be afraid to share a specific example of a time where you really collaborated successfully as part of a team.
Yes, that's a great point. Tell a story. Make it memorable.
What about those tricky situations where maybe there's disagreement? How do you handle that?
Well, they might just straight up ask you, describe a situation where you had to navigate a disagreement with a colleague. How did you handle the situation?
So they're looking for those conflict resolution skills.
Yes, and your ability to maintain a professional and productive work environment.
So show them you can find common ground.
Okay, now for the last question we're going to look at from the RoleCatcher Interview Guide. They ask, Describe a time when you had to think creatively to solve a problem in a CNC machining facility.
Okay, so this one's really putting those problem-solving skills front and center.
Yes, it's about being able to think outside the box and coming up with innovative solutions when you run into these unexpected challenges.
Because, let's be real, things don't always go according to plan in the manufacturing world.
No, they don't. So you need to be resourceful and adaptable.
Be able to think on your feet.
Exactly. So share a story, a time when you encountered a problem that required a creative solution. What was the problem? What was the conventional approach? And how did you come up with something different, something unique that was effective?
Highlight that positive outcome.
Yes. How did your creative thinking maybe save time or improve efficiency? Or maybe you enhance the final product in some way?
So you didn't just identify the problem. You went above and beyond to come up with a solution.
And they might ask, what did you learn from that experience? Or did it change your approach to problem solving in any way? So you're a problem solver, but you're also someone who reflects and learns and is always looking to improve.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground with those interview questions, but RoleCatcher has even more to offer.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about their AI features, which can be a real game changer when you're job searching and prepping for these interviews.
Yeah, it's like having a personal career coach and a mock interviewer all rolled into one.
I love that.
It can help you tailor your resume and even practice those interview answers with personalized feedback.
That sounds so helpful, especially, in such a competitive job market.
It is. So picture this. You upload your resume and a job description into RoleCatcher.
Okay.
Their AI analyzes both and highlights the skills that are the best match for that specific job.
Wow. So it's like having a resume expert fine-tuning your application to make sure it really speaks to what the hiring manager is looking for.
Exactly. And then for interview practice, their AI-powered feedback feature is amazing.
Oh, wow. Tell me more about that.
So you record yourself answering common interview questions, and their AI analyzes your responses. It gives you feedback on your tone of voice, your pacing, your clarity.
So it's like having a mock interview with an expert, but you can do it on your own time.
Anytime, anywhere. It takes out so much of the guesswork.
Wow, that's phenomenal. All right, so let's say you've aced the interview, you've wowed them with your skills and experience, and you've landed the job. Congratulations.
Awesome.
But what's next? How do you build a successful career as a CNC machine operator?
Well, that's where the career progression section of the RoleCatcher Career Guide comes in. It outlines the different career stages from entry level to senior, and it highlights how the responsibilities and expertise grow as you move up.
Okay, so it's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of role.
Yeah.
There's a clear path for growth and development.
Absolutely. As you gain experience, you might take on leadership roles, maybe specialize in a certain type of CNC machining. Or you could move into management or even engineering positions.
Right, and the guide also mentions certifications, which can be really valuable.
They can definitely boost your credentials and your earning potential.
And of course, continuous learning is key, right?
It is. You always want to stay up to date on the latest technologies to stay competitive and advance in your career.
Now, before we wrap up, I'm curious, what are some maybe less obvious skills or qualities that you think might give someone an edge in this field?
Well, besides all those technical skills, having a meticulous eye for detail is really crucial. You're working with precise measurements and tolerances, so accuracy is everything.
Yeah, one tiny error can mean a whole batch of unusable parts.
Exactly. So always double check that work.
What else?
A strong work ethic is essential. CNC machining can be demanding both physically and mentally. You need to be able to stay focused and push through challenges.
So it's not just about being good with your hands, it's also about having that mental stamina and discipline.
It is. And being a good problem solver, that's huge. Things don't always go as planned, so you need to be able to troubleshoot those issues and think critically and come up with solutions on the spot.
Those are all great points. Anything else come to mind?
This might sound a bit unexpected, but having a sense of artistry or design can really be an advantage.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. Tell me more.
Well, CNC machining is about precision and technical skill, but it's also about creating something. You're shaping those raw materials into finished products.
Right, there's an element of creativity there.
Exactly. You're bringing those designs to life. You're turning them into tangible objects.
So it's not just about being a technician, it's about being a bit of an artist.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best CNC machinists, they combine that technical expertise with a touch of creativity and that passion for their craft.
That's a great takeaway. All right, we've covered so much in this deep dive. We've talked about the CNC machine operator role, those interview questions, and even RoleCatcher's AI features. But before we wrap up, I have one last question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on their CNC machining journey? What wisdom would you offer to someone who's just eager to break into this field?
I'd say first and foremost, be a sponge. Soak up as much knowledge as you can. Don't be afraid to ask questions, you know. Find those mentors and learn from everyone around you.
So embrace that beginner's mindset.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't get discouraged if things don't click right away.
Mm.
This is a skill. It takes time and dedication to really master CNC machining. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. Find that thing that really connects you to your passion for this field, whether it's the precision of the machines or the satisfaction of, actually creating something, or maybe it's the problem-solving aspect. Let that passion fuel your learning and drive your success.
That's great advice, I think, for anyone starting out in any field, really.
Hmm.
So we've given our listeners an amazing toolkit for their CNC machine operator interview today.
We've covered, what the role is, the work environment, those key interview questions, and even how RoleCatcher's AI can give them a boost.
Absolutely. But as always, we like to leave our listeners with something to think about. So here's a final thought-provoking question. As CNC machining becomes more and more automated, what skills do you think are going to be most valuable for those human operators in the future?
Ooh, that's a great question to ponder. This industry is always evolving, and those who can adapt and embrace those new technologies are going to be the ones who really thrive.
All right, well, that wraps up this deep dive. To our listener, best of luck with your interview. We know you're going to do great.
You've got this. And remember, if you need a little extra help along the way, RoleCatcher is there for you.
Until next time, keep diving deep.